Today, we're talking about something you might be seeing more and more. Continuous glucose monitors, CGMs.
Right.
You used to only really see these on people managing diabetes, but now
Yeah.
they seem to be popping up everywhere. Athletes, health gurus, people just really focused on optimizing, well, everything.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big shift, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It really is. What we're seeing is like a fundamental evolution, moving away from just reacting to disease towards being really proactive about your metabolic health.
Yeah, optimizing it.
Exactly. It's about empowering you, the individual, to understand your body on a much deeper, sort of continuous level.
And that's really the heart of what we want to unpack today. For anyone curious about taking their health optimization to the next level, this feels like a potential game changer. So our deep dive today is all about continuous glucose monitoring for non-diabetics. We're going to look at what these things actually are, how they work, and why they're suddenly such a hot topic in metabolic health. Our mission basically is to decode this whole emerging area for you.
Right.
We'll cover the tech, the sometimes really surprising things it can tell you about your body specifically, the science behind using them, and how you might practically apply that knowledge.
And also the important stuff like navigating the market and knowing the upsides and, frankly, the potential downsides, too.
Exactly. So if you're someone who wants to get smart on this quickly, but, thoroughly without getting totally overwhelmed and maybe find those aha moments about your own biology, you are definitely in the right place. We're here to help you figure out what really matters with this powerful new tool for proactive health.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is digging into the why now, why this explosion. As you said, CGMs were pretty much exclusive to diabetes management.
That's right. That was their whole purpose initially.
But now we're seeing them adopted for general wellness, for boosting athletic performance, even for potentially spotting early signs of metabolic issues in people who don't have diabetes at all.
So it's crossed over.
Yeah.
From medical device to like a wellness gadget almost. And the market's just gone wild, hasn't it? These companies, Levels, Nutrisense, Signos, offering programs directly to consumers.
Precisely. They often bundle the device with coaching, personalized feedback, apps, the whole package. And crucially, many are becoming available over the counter.
Without a prescription.
For general wellness use, yes. The FDA has given clearances for broader applications, focusing on general health, and that's really poured fuel on the fire, popularity-wise. It signals this huge shift, like we said, from just treating problems to actively optimizing your metabolic health day to day.
Aiming for what? Better awareness, smarter choices?
Better lifestyle choices, yeah, and potentially even preventing metabolic diseases down the road. It's a big deal.
It really does feel like it redefines proactive health.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's get practical. How do these little sensors actually work? How are they giving us this constant stream of information?
Well, the core tech is actually pretty neat. It's a small sensor, maybe the size of a quarter.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Usually put on the back of your arm, sometimes the abdomen. And there's this tiny flexible filament that goes just under the skin. It doesn't really hurt, surprisingly.
Okay.
And that little filament continuously measures glucose levels, not directly in the blood, but in the interstitial fluid.
The what fluid?
Interstitial fluid, it's the fluid that surrounds all the cells in your body. Glucose levels there track pretty closely with blood glucose, just with a slight delay, maybe 5-15 minutes.
Gotcha. So it's good proxy for blood sugar.
A very good proxy, yeah. And it measures it every few minutes. But the real magic, like you said, the game changer, is that continuous real-time data feed.
Right. It's not just a single snapshot like a finger prick. It's the whole movie.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. It transmits that data wirelessly to either a dedicated reader or, more commonly now, right to a smartphone app. So you get this dynamic, constantly updated view of your glucose trends.
Which lets you see exactly how things affect you.
Precisely. How different foods, how exercise, different types of exercise, how stress, how your sleep quality, how all these things impact your specific blood sugar levels in real time.
So you can finally connect the dots. Like, that's why I felt sluggish after lunch.
Yes. Or, okay, that food gives me a huge spike even though I thought it was healthy. Or you see how a stressful meeting makes your glucose climb even if you haven't eaten anything. It gives you actionable data.
Actionable data. That's powerful. A tool to potentially lower your diabetes risk, feel better day to day.
Hugely powerful for making informed choices, yeah. Enhancing overall well-being.
Okay, so it's like having this little metabolic detective on your arm feeding you clues. You mentioned personalized insights.
Yeah, yeah.
What are some of the genuinely surprising things a non-diabetic might actually learn using one of these?
Oh, this is where it gets really eye-opening for people, because the CGM gives you this window into your body's unique responses that was, well, totally invisible before.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so you might be super careful about your diet, right? You start your day with a quote-unquote healthy oat milk smoothie packed with fruit.
Sounds pretty virtuous.
You'd think. But then your CGM buzzes and you see your glucose has shot up higher than if you'd eaten, I don't know, a donut. That happens a lot.
Seriously. From fruit and oats.
For some people, absolutely. It depends on the type of fruit, the processing of the oats, the lack of fat or protein to buffer it, and your individual sensitivity. It's a huge aha moment.
Wow. Okay.
Conversely, you might find that a food you've been religiously avoiding, maybe thinking it's bad, actually has a pretty minimal impact on your glucose. And you start connecting the dots physically, too. Maybe that mid-afternoon brain fog lines up perfectly with a glucose crash after an earlier spike. Or sudden hunger pangs relate to a dip.
That's wild. Okay, so the smoothie surprise.
Wow.
What about exercise? I think most of us assume exercise just lowers blood sugar. End of story. Is it that simple?
Not always, no. And that's another area where CGMs reveal some really interesting complexity, like really intense exercise things, sprints, heavy lifting, CrossFit-style workouts.
Yeah.
That can actually temporarily raise your blood sugar.
Raise it, but you're burning energy.
You are, but your body also goes into this sort of fight or flight mode during intense bursts. It releases stored glucose, glycogen, from your liver and muscles to provide that immediate fuel.
Huh. Okay, so my body's just gearing up.
Exactly. It's a normal physiological response, but seeing it on the CGM can be surprising. Now, on the flip side, steady state cardio, like a jog or a brisk walk, that usually does lower glucose levels, often quite effectively.
But understanding that difference helps you plan, maybe.
Definitely. It helps you optimize your nutrition around your workouts. Maybe you fuel differently before high intensity versus steady state. Maybe you focus on recovery nutrition after seeing that post-workout glucose pattern. Some people even track heart rate alongside glucose for even deeper insights into training zones and fuel use.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of counterintuitive that a hard workout could spike glucose, even temporarily.
It is. And it's a perfect example of the nuance CGMs uncover. It's not necessarily a bad thing, that spike. It's your body doing its job. But knowing it happens helps you manage it, perhaps with post-workout nutrition timing or a cool-down walk.
Right. And you mentioned stress and sleep, too.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one for many users. You might wake up after a terrible night's sleep or during a really stressful work week and see your fasting glucose is higher than usual.
Even if you didn't eat late or anything.
Even with no food intake overnight. Stress hormones like cortisol can trigger your liver to release glucose into your bloodstream. It's a survival mechanism, but chronically. It's not great. Seeing that connection on a graph can be a powerful motivator to manage stress or prioritize sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
It really highlights that health is holistic, it's not just diet.
That's a massive insight. So pulling this together, what's the biggest takeaway for someone wanting to really personalize their health strategy?
Honestly, the single most valuable insight is probably the sheer individual variability. It's stunning. You and I could eat the exact same meal and have completely different glucose responses. Based on our genetics, our gut microbiome, the bacteria in our gut play a huge role, our recent activity levels, our underlying metabolic health, it varies massively.
Which means generic advice.
Most just doesn't cut it. It underscores why personalized nutrition and health strategies are so important. The CGM data lets you see your patterns, track things like time and range, how much of the day your glucose stays within your target zone, giving you a concrete measure of your daily glycemic stability.
Okay, it's clear this tech offers a really deep, personal look inside. Let's zoom out a bit. What's the science saying about why this matters for non-diabetics? What's the basis for using CGMs for metabolic optimization and prevention?
Right, so the underlying rationale comes from a growing body of research, and I should stress more large-scale long-term studies are still needed and ongoing. But the research suggests that good glycemic control is really important for long-term health, even if you don't have diabetes.
Okay.
Studies indicate that frequent large glucose spikes and high glycemic variability, basically being on that glucose roller coaster all the time.
Yeah, I've heard that term.
Even in people without diabetes, that pattern may quietly contribute to some significant issues over time. We're talking about things like increased systemic inflammation.
Which is linked to so many chronic diseases.
Exactly. Also, potentially accelerated cellular aging, a higher risk of eventually developing type 2 diabetes, increased cardiovascular disease risk, potential links to cognitive decline later in life, and even those day-to-day things like energy crashes and mood swings.
Wow. So even if your A1C, that standard blood test, looks okay, these moment-to-moment fluctuations could still be causing low-grade problems.
That's the hypothesis, yes. Insulin is key here. Insulin resistance, where your cells don't respond properly to insulin, is often at the root of these metabolic issues. By aiming for more stable glucose levels, achieving what's often called metabolic flexibility, the idea is you can reduce your risk of these chronic conditions and also just feel and perform better daily.
So keeping things more level helps your insulin system work better, potentially preventing insulin resistance and maybe even type 2 diabetes down the line.
That's the goal. Reducing insulin resistance is central. And that concept of the glucose roller coaster has really caught on because it resonates. People use the CGM data to identify and then avoid the patterns, the food combinations, the timings, the portion sizes that lead to those big spikes, followed by energy-sapping crashes and cravings.
And better metabolic health often helps with weight management too, right? Which feeds back positively.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected. Better blood sugar control, potential weight loss benefits, improvements in blood pressure. It can create a positive cycle.
This sounds like a seriously powerful tool for proactive health then. How specifically does it help with early detection and prevention? Can it really give you a heads up?
Yeah, that's one of the key potential benefits. CGMs can be incredibly valuable for spotting subtle metabolic changes early on, changes that might signal an increased risk of developing diabetes later.
Changes you might miss otherwise.
Totally. Because you're tracking continuously, you can see patterns that a standard one-off blood test at the doctor's office might completely miss. Things like frequent post-meal spikes that go maybe a bit too high or take too long to come back down, or maybe fasting glucose that's creeping up slowly over time.
Okay.
Seeing these patterns provides a crucial early warning signal. And this kind of insight is especially valuable if you already have known risk factors, maybe a strong family history of diabetes, or if you've had prediabetes or gestational diabetes in the past.
So it's like an early warning system.
Yeah.
Giving you a chance to act before things become a real problem.
Precisely. That's the power. The real-time data allows you to make targeted, effective lifestyle changes right away. Maybe you adjust your diet based on your spike triggers, you increase your physical activity, you work on stress management techniques.
All aimed at stabilizing blood sugar.
Exactly. Stabilizing blood sugar and potentially slowing or even halting the progression towards type 2 diabetes. And for those who already have a diagnosis like prediabetes or gestational diabetes, CGMs offer really granular monitoring. They let you see the immediate impact of your choices, helping you fine-tune your routine and potentially prevent full-blown type 2 diabetes or its complications like heart disease.
The core message seems to be catch it early, intervene effectively.
That's it. Early detection and intervention are just crucial for long-term health. CGMs give individuals the power to take control before a serious diagnosis might occur.
Okay, that's a really compelling case for the preventative side. So practically speaking, what kind of lifestyle changes are people actually making based on seeing this super personalized data day in, day out?
Well, users report making some really significant targeted changes across the board: diet, movement, even daily routines. On the nutrition front, it moves way beyond generic advice.
How so?
People identify their specific trigger foods, the things that reliably send their glucose soaring. They figure out the optimal meal composition for them. Maybe they learn that eating their veggies and protein before they eat carbs really helps blunt the glucose spike from that meal. That's a common, effective strategy many discover.
The food order trick.
Yeah. Or they dial in the right portion sizes for their metabolism. They discover food combinations that work really well together to keep their blood sugar stable. It's true personalization.
So it's not just eat less sugar, it's here's how your body handles this specific meal.
Yeah.
That's a different level.
Totally different. And it often leads to changes in timing, too. Maybe implementing longer breaks between eating if glucose is staying elevated, or avoiding eating too close to bedtime, or strategically timing carb intake around workouts when they know their muscles will use it effectively.
Makes sense. What about movement? How does the data influence exercise habits?
People learn so much about how different types and timings of exercise impact them. A really common one is discovering that even a short 10-15-minute walk right after a meal can dramatically lower the post-meal glucose peak.
Really, just a quick walk.
It can be surprisingly effective for many people. Others might learn to schedule their high-intensity sessions when their glucose levels are optimal to fuel them based on their patterns. Or maybe they use light activity like stretching or a gentle walk specifically to help manage glucose rises they see linked to stress.
Wow. And you mentioned athletes using it too.
Oh yeah, seriously. Athletes are using CGM data to really fine-tune their fueling strategies for training, for competition, for recovery, optimizing performance right down to the metabolic level. It's becoming a tool for enhancing physical performance, not just health.
Okay, this sounds incredibly useful, potentially life-changing for some. But if someone listening is thinking, okay, I'm interested, how do they navigate the commercial side of things? What should they look for in one of these CGM programs?
That's a great question. So these commercial programs, as we touched on, usually bundle the CGM sensor itself with a smartphone app that displays the data, often in user-friendly graphs. And critically, many include access to some form of coaching or personalized feedback.
So it's not just the raw data dump.
Right, and that combination is often key. It helps you not just see the data, but actually understand it and get expert guidance on how to make effective changes based on it.
Okay, so what should you look for when comparing them?
You definitely want to look for programs that use accurate and reliable CGM devices, check reviews, and maybe what technology they're based on. Look for transparent pricing, what's included, are there recurring costs, and assess the level and quality of support. Is it access to registered dietitians, certified health coaches? Are there good educational resources within the app?
Got it.
And some programs are specifically tailored for non-diabetics, focusing more on wellness, performance, and prevention goals, rather than purely on diabetes management metrics, which might be more relevant.
Makes sense. And I think you mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. Talk to your doctor first.
Absolutely essential. Always, always consult with your healthcare provider before starting any CGM program. They can help ensure it aligns with your overall health picture, your specific goals, and any existing medical conditions or medications. It's crucial context.
Okay. Now let's address the other end of the coin. We've talked a lot about the benefits, but when does this constant monitoring actually help versus when might it backfire or even cause harm? We need that balanced perspective.
Extremely important point. The benefits, as we've covered, can be significant. That increased awareness, the personalized data leading to informed choices, potentially catching pre-diabetic patterns early, motivation for healthier habits.
Understanding that food, mood, energy link.
Exactly. And for people with diagnosed diabetes or related conditions, CGMs are often a massive help in managing their health effectively. No question there.
Okay, but what are the potential downsides or risks we need to be aware of, the sort of dark side of all this data?
Right. One major concern is the potential for developing obsessive behaviors. People can get really fixated on the numbers, on achieving a perfectly flat glucose line, which isn't even biologically normal or necessarily desirable.
Like food anxiety.
Yes, definitely. Unnecessary anxiety about normal, healthy fluctuations in glucose. Or people might start over-restricting foods, even healthy ones like fruit, just because they see a temporary rise in glucose, taking the data out of context.
That doesn't sound healthy.
It's not. There's also the financial cost for non-diabetics. Insurance typically doesn't cover it, so you're looking at like $100 to $400 a month out of pocket, which is significant.
Yeah, that adds up.
And without proper guidance, there's a real risk of misinterpreting the data. Maybe getting a false sense of security or making changes based on incomplete understanding. Also, while CGMs detect hypoglycemia or low blood sugar,
Which is important for diabetics on insulin.
critically important. But for a healthy non-diabetic who isn't really at risk for dangerous lows, seeing occasional dips might cause unnecessary worry or lead to unneeded interventions.
Okay, so what's the key takeaway or caveat here, especially for generally healthy listeners without known blood sugar issues?
I think the crucial caveat is this. For healthy individuals without a significant risk of problematic low blood sugar, using a CGM isn't always necessary. And importantly, the evidence for proven long-term health benefits in this population is still developing. We need more robust data. And it's vital to understand that the over-the-counter CGMs available for wellness use are not designed or approved for detecting or managing severe hypoglycemia, the kind that can be dangerous for someone on insulin. They're different tools.
That's a really critical distinction.
It is. Which brings us back to the main recommendation. Always, always discuss this with your doctor before jumping in, and definitely before making major changes based on the data. Many healthcare professionals are still cautious about broadly recommending CGMs for healthy non-diabetics, pending more conclusive evidence from ongoing research.
Understood. Super important context.
Yeah.
And how does regulation fit into this picture for non-diabetic use? Is it regulated?
Oh, absolutely. In the US, the FDA tightly regulates CGM systems. They have to meet strict standards for safety and effectiveness.
Okay.
Now, historically, most approvals were specifically for people with diabetes. More recently, some OTC devices have received clearance for broader use by healthy individuals for general wellness tracking. However,
There's a but.
there's a but. Using many CGM devices as a non-diabetic might still be considered off-label use, meaning it's not the specific use the device was originally FDA approved for, even if it's technically allowed now for wellness.
And are there physical risks beside the anxiety?
The most common physical issue is minor skin irritation or maybe an allergic reaction to the adhesive at the sensor site. That can happen. And then there's the risk we keep mentioning, misinterpreting the data without the right context or professional input.
So what's the sensible path forward then? How can someone interested maximize the potential benefits while minimizing those risks?
Number 1, follow the manufacturer's instructions for the specific device to the letter. Number 2, and we can't stress this enough, consult with your healthcare provider before you start.
Talk it through with them.
Yes, they can help you weigh your individual potential benefits against the risks, help you understand how to interpret the data in the context of your overall health, and ultimately help you decide if a CGM is actually appropriate and worthwhile for your specific situation and goals.
So be informed, be responsible.
Exactly. Stay informed, use these systems responsibly, and see them as one tool among many for optimizing your metabolic health, not a magic bullet or something to obsess over.
That seems like very sound advice. Okay, so thinking about all the potential benefits, the risks, the need for context, who, in your view, might stand to benefit the most from exploring CGM use right now, beyond those with diagnosed diabetes?
Based on current understanding and emerging research, certain groups might find them particularly insightful. Individuals with a strong family history of type 2 diabetes, for instance, might get valuable early warnings.
Okay, genetic predisposition.
Right. Also, individuals diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome or PCOS, which often involves insulin resistance, people experiencing persistent, unexplained fatigue or significant energy crashes throughout the day might uncover metabolic links.
Trying to find the why.
Exactly. Athletes, as we discussed, who are serious about optimizing performance and recovery. Anyone really keen on deep, personalized nutrition insights that go beyond generic guidelines. And of course, individuals already diagnosed with metabolic syndrome or prediabetes, where it can be a powerful tool for management and potential reversal alongside lifestyle changes.
That's a helpful list of potential use cases. We have certainly covered a lot of ground today. We've traced how CGMs have evolved from a diabetes tool into this potentially powerful device for anyone interested in optimizing their metabolic health.
Yeah, offering really personalized insights into how your unique body handles food, exercise, stress, sleep.
Empowering you to make genuinely informed choices about your lifestyle.
And thinking bigger picture, as this technology gets cheaper, more accessible, maybe integrates more seamlessly with our smartwatches, our phones, maybe AI starts analyzing the data for us.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't
Wonder
it?
what?
Are we heading into an era where continuously monitoring our internal biology, our glucose, maybe other markers soon becomes as normal as every day, as tracking our steps or heart rate is now?
That's a provocative thought. Continuous internal data streams.
The future likely holds even more sophisticated analysis, maybe more predictive insights. But I think it's crucial to remember the ultimate goal shouldn't be just obsessing over every little number.
Right. Not getting lost in the data weeds.
Exactly. The goal should be using this information wisely to achieve sustainable, balanced lifestyle improvements that genuinely enhance your overall well-being and vitality. It's a tool, not the entire toolbox.
A powerful tool, potentially. So the final thought for you listening, what does this all mean for your health journey? How might getting a deeper, more continuous look under the hood at your body's metabolic responses empower you to live a healthier, maybe more energized life? Lots to think about. We hope this deep dive gave you some valuable insights and clear paths forward.